time in the meta. He was the one that was using that pick to great effect all those weeks ago and making it a popular pick. Blackfeather going to get through the second round of bans here and go into the hands of Hammers.
And this is obviously a pick that Hammers like into the Saw. They've already run it last game. Didn't have the level of success they were hoping. The pedal is still available for Rogue, but I don't know if they go for that without having the Kroll already taken by Hammers. So it's going to be interesting to see what they decide to take to round out this composition.
Exactly. The fact that Hammers have the last pick this time around makes them feel confident enough to go for a similar draft. They're getting the Blackfeather, they're getting the Arden. They're not trying to bring out a new pick versus the Saw. They're just saying we're going to execute the same thing, or pick out the same thing and execute it better. Only this time you're not going to have that jungle matchup that is very heavily in your favorite with the Petal versus the Kroll.
And expect maybe a Lance to come out again for Rogue. And kind of go with that if it ain't broke, don't fix it mentality, because Evol is a phenomenal Lance player. We saw him be setting up multiple kills. They do go ahead and take that hero again. And there's the Rona to deal with the Blackfeather. This is starting to look a little bit scary if you're the side of Hammers, because as you mentioned, you don't know. Maybe this will be a CP Saw. Maybe we could even get the incredibly rare CP Rona.
Yeah, the incredibly rare. I would not expect that. I think it's going to be a CP Saw, but I do think it will go to the lane. It would be a treat seeing it in the jungle. Von C was a player who played that CP Saw in the jungle long time ago, many moons ago. So Rona is most likely going to go to the jungle with Sibs as a weapon power, and they will play the CP Saw in lane. Very interesting composition from Rogue.
And when you're in the position of Hammers right here, it's very difficult to round out a draft against something like this, because we don't know where these guys are going to go theory crafting on the desk here, so it's very difficult to draft against that.
Yeah, I mean, right. I mean, I absolutely love the CP Saw here in 2.9. The execution damage it packs is so incredibly strong on the roadie run and on the ultimate. Something we saw in EA is a CP Saw player picking up a Clockwork, then spamming his ultimate to stack those shells on his auto attacks, and then in teamfights having unlimited amounts of shells. Essentially, the Koshka pick does come through at last.
I'm not sure how I feel about the Koshka pick going into a Rona. You've just drafted yourself into a triple melee against the Rona. Yes, the Koshka and the Blackfeather are very mobile. They can try and get out of that red mist, but at least at some point, all three members of Hammers are going to be right on top of Rona. She's going to start spinning, and she's going to get 20 breaking point stacks in about half a second. So it's something they have to be extremely wary of as we go into this game.
So my big question then is, with a Blackfeather and a Koshka, are they going to have enough damage to dive onto this Saw?
They will have enough damage, but they won't have enough defense, in my opinion, because both Rona and Saw will have a lot of damage coming out, and they will have to prioritize one or the other. In my opinion, Rogue has a much better draft this time around as well.
All right, well, we'll see if that draft is going to pay off for them. It's time to get on into this game. Hashtag Vainglory8. Let us know who you think can finish off this rematch of last week's finals. It's time to pass it again to Humanist and Dowsy to kick off game number 3.
Ladies and gentlemen, game number 3 between Rogue and Hammers here. This is so incredibly important for both of these teams. Both of them, they are going to be fighting with everything they have to win this game here. And we see a very interesting draft coming out of Rogue in this final match of the series. Dowsy, why don't you break it down for us?
Well, we got Saw, who's been the staple part of Rogue's drafting. The Lance for Evo again is going to be very impactful, but Sibs now bringing a Rona into the fray. Going to be very interesting to see how this plays out. He could go weapon power, which is very, very likely he does that and just stacks up heavily with a breaking point. There's also this niche possibility he goes crystal power. Very good into people want to dive onto one area. The Into the Fray has a 200% crystal power ratio. I don't think it will come out. It would be incredible if it did, but it's something to consider.
It would be pretty epic. Roadie run, Hammy secures that Elder Treant, throws the suppressing fire. Hammers don't want to chase.
Yeah, no, this is Hammer's composition's a little bit more impactful this game. You know, the one issue that they had in the previous game was that they had 2 heroes that require sustained damage to then provide burst.
Oh,
I mean, he does escape. Gonna lay down that suppressing fire, a little bit dangerous. But
yeah, Hammy's been fine.
The Cruel and both the Blackfeather, they require auto attacks first to then have their burst, which is the we'll talk about it in a bit. Look at this.
Sib's able to secure his back tree and camp there. Evil looking for the Githian wall, stunning them up a little bit. Chase is on. Status doesn't have the move speed. He has a twirly death. He can use that for the move speed now, but he's already chased down. It's too late. Evil takes first blood. Roger on the board. And Chicken kind of in a weird position. Sibs could turn around for the kill, but he moves forward across the map to start taking camps away from Hammers. Very smart plays here. Up in the lane, Hammy's taken advantage over starting. He's applied damage, so Rogue, a huge control move here.
Yeah, no, so much control by a failed invade by Status. It's not what you want in the early stages of this game, and starting over, like you mentioned as well, in a bit of an issue, has to pop his healing flask early under the turret against just the Saw. Now, the thing that this composition from Hammers is better for is the fact that they do have this Koshka. In the previous game, Black Feather, Cruel, they require time before they can burst a singular target. Koshka jumps in and bursts immediately. It provides Hammers so much more threat against the Saw and makes Hammy's life even harder when they do get dove upon. However, Evo on this Lance can really just shut down everything that Hammers wants to do, so once more, watch his plays.
Yeah, it's very interesting. So it looks like we're going to have Hammy with no... Oh, the suppressing fire just to tip Hammy! He knows how to use that thing.
Definitely does. That was Status once more. Too big for his boots. Have to wonder what his mentality is like after losing game 2 of this series. Hammers know that this series is their only chance at Worlds. If they lose it, they are out of range of Rogue. Since Rogue is currently the point leader, tied up with TSM. And you have to imagine that the mental stress that the entirety of the Hammers roster are currently facing has to be pretty huge.
I mean, the stress, but how elated are these gonna... Whoever wins this series is gonna be feeling so incredibly good. I mean, it's just putting you on the path to potentially lock in that world spot. And of course, both these teams fighting tooth and nail to find their way there. You know, Dowsey, we actually see Hammy with the no boots build doing pretty decent work over here. I'm curious because he's going to need a reflex block to deal with this Koshka, but he's only got one item slot left over. Oh, he completes the item, never mind.
Yeah, goes for the Serpent's Mask first, and is just going to get some defense for himself, but no reflex block just yet. Status level 5, just hit it, which means that he's got a little bit before he hits that final point, and we'll get that Yummy Catnip Frenzy online. Evo can block it up if Githian War is hit to stun up the Koshka immediately, so there's that there, and I'm sure Hammy's going to be positioning in such a way that it makes it difficult for Status to just run through the lane to get to him. Sib's also going to be breaking the off-meta Vainglory players and breaking the hearts of them and going towards a Serpent's Mask for himself. I wonder when the Bonesaw will be prioritized is the real question. Sibs wants to get a breaking point after this Serpent's Mask to make his build strong. Hammy wants to get probably a Sora Blade after his Serpent's Mask, I would suspect. So the breaking point's going to be fairly late. It does open up the defensive avenues for Hollywood Hammers to get some armor online and kind of negate this damage Rogue can output.
We'll see how they build. It's definitely going to be very interesting and have a large impact now. Impale lands onto starting. He's only level 5. He'll get the Vanguard. Once again, Hammy, a beautiful suppressing fire. Chicken getting lit up here. Healing Flask comes out. Chicken holding his fountain there. Very good patience coming out. But this looks like this could be the power push maybe from Rogue, or Hammer's baiting Rogue in here. Hammy, he's spun up. He has good damage. That turret is starting to actually get to the point where you really start to worry if you are Hammers. But I guess coming up 5 minutes 45 seconds into this game, it's not like he was shoved down super early at this point, and there's no guarantee it still goes down just on a sliver of health. Suppressing fire, is he gonna get that with the suppressing fire? Doesn't matter, he gets it. Rona actually getting the last hit there, but Hammers, they pretty much just watch as Rogue take their turret.
Yeah, didn't want to commit to a team fight. Starting all over, Chicken had taken too much damage to begin it off, and it just put their chances of winning it far lower than what they wanted. Hammy, man, he is not afraid to build defensive, is he? One of the only laners in North America that will prioritize defense over offense. Usually it's the opposite way around. He's got himself that reflex block now for the Yummy Catnip Frenzy. Status can do a lot of damage with that Aftershock for himself, going towards what would most likely be a Dragon's Eye second, just to optimize the amount of damage he can output over time. The Hammers need to make this a level 6 Arden Power Spike of the Gauntlet come quicker and be impactful. Chicken needs to start heading to the backs with Status, share some experience so they can get it as quickly as possible, because Rogue are starting to mount a gold lead here, a control lead that Hammers might not be able to come back from.
A big jump in, a 3-man Githian wall out of Evol. Combat rolls back as Sibs starts to spin on the front line. Yummy Cat and Frenzy's going to come out. It's locked Sibs down. He gets the healing, but he still will drop. Another huge Githian wall out of Evol as Hammy stands his ground. Hammy's able to find one, looking for more. Starting, he's on point over the top of the Rose offensive. He's got the kill on the Hammy. Now he chases for it. Another big stun out of Evol. I think Evol got like 3 multiple Githian wall stuns in that fight. Wasn't enough though. Hammer has come out on top.
Yeah, that was just a bad reflex block from Sibs, a little bit too late, and that locked down the Rona, meant that she couldn't use her ultimate red mist to build up fortified health, and she went down very quickly. Ever since that happened, Stunning Alova was able to focus down the Saw, whilst Hammy tried to finish off the Koshka. It just meant the Heartthrob stabs was too much for Hammy to deal with. A very nice execution by Hammers to find the opportunity. Could have been dissuaded though if that reflex block was just a little bit quicker by Sibs. So Rogue fans, don't get too worried just yet. Just because that team fight went Hammers' way. With better execution, Rogue could have won that. Do see a gauntlet online though for Chicken. It's a big point for Hammers. This is where they realistically should start winning team fights from. If those gauntlet players from Chicken are able to catch out priority members such as the Rona, such as the Saw, and force reflex blocks early so that the Yummy Captain Frenzy can find its way onto a priority target, then that's really good. But you notice Evol has just finished his Crucible as that level 6 comes online, so there is that team-wide reflex block for Rogue that they're going to be able to use to try and escape Chicken's clutches.
Absolutely, and Rogue the kind of team and Evol the kind of player that I wouldn't be surprised to see Hammy, I mean if he wants to, he could use the reflex to block whatever he wants, and the second thing that's going to be blocked, Evol will be right there ready to activate that Crucible and make it happen. I'm curious though, Chicken, how he's going to play out throwing this gauntlet down, because if someone reflexes and walks right out of it and you're not in a position to follow the Yummy Cat Frenzy, that could be a huge waste. It's a very long cooldown.
Yeah, super long. One thing that I want to highlight is that, you know, Hammy has continued down this let's build defense mindset on this Saw. He has an Aegis and he has a coat of plates, but in the previous fight he didn't have much damage, and it was so obvious that he wasn't quite able to deal with this Black Feather that was on top of him. This is one issue that Rogue may face as another team fight breaks out.
Hammy, suppressing fires down, he's spun up. Hammer's trying to jump in, but this is Status dropping incredibly low. Fountain will buy him about a half of a second here. Starting, he's locked onto Hammy. He knows he has to take him down. Rose defends him, buys a little bit of time. On point didn't connect onto Hammy. He'll reposition. Sibs starts up the red mist. On point lands. Starting, trying to trade, juking back Sibs into the fray. One basic, he'll take him down. As Rogue take the fight, now gonna look to take this gold miner as well. A nice win right into an objective take.
Yeah, and this time it was that Crucible big play by Evo to block up the Yummy Captain Frenzy and allow Sibs to spin up and get that fortified health, be such a nuisance on the front line of Hammers. There really is no backlines in this game. Yeah, maybe you call Saw a backline, but he's going to be in the midst of the fight regardless of whether he wants it or not. A breaking point now finished for Hammy. It is all about those long fights, the longevity of a team fight, and how quickly you can stack up that breaking point. Hammy will be able to do it relatively well. Sibs as well going to be able to get a breaking point online for himself, you would think, shortly. But again, he's also prioritized defense. Aegis is there, makes Status's build path choice have to be a Broken Myth second, which means he won't have the Dragon's Eye to build up stacks as the team fight goes on, kind of negating a bit of the power that the Koshka can really have at this mid-game, and once more making Hammer's win conditions just that little bit more harder to execute.
Rogue essentially one step ahead, dictating the pace of the game, forcing Hammer's hand as far as rotations and item builds here. We'll see how this fight's going to play out. A double Githian wall coming out. Was that an echo? It was. Evol making the plays and wrecking Status.
Just is so many items to talk about in this game, and they're just every item purchase that you can see has kind of dictated the team fights that we've been seeing. What a great position by Evol to catch out Status, and once more Status going to be the one who kind kind of just feels a little bit tilted. Hammer's trying to dive on in, but this seems like a fool's play as Rogue can continue to chip away at this turret, really not feeling threatened. Here comes
Couple
Status.
breaking point stacks here. Gauntlet's down. Hammy's going to stand his ground. He's doing fine. He's regenerating. Status. He gets canceled out of the game. He got to Evil is the best lance in the world. It's official. Chicken. He's getting lit up here. The basic attack's probably taken down. He gets off the Atlas Pauldron onto 2. Evil just stunning him up against the wall. He's like, you just stay over there. You're a non-factor at this point. Starting, not able to do anything as Rogue begin to dismantle Hammers.
Running over. Looked like he wanted to try his luck against Hammy here. There's a lot of heartthrob stacks on this Saw.
I mean, if he had stayed on with the Vanguard there with Evil, he finds another Githing wall stun. Starting, he wants again, but just a sliver of miscommunication backfiring on the Hammers. Now, Suppressing Fire slows him up. Sibs is there, starts to spin on the red mist. Sibs doing work on the front line for his team. Evil's low, but still getting the CC off on the Hammers that his team needs. Hammers, are they about to be debated in this one? I'm not entirely sure. Starting, secures the mid over the wall. It's something, but it's not going to be enough here.
When are SEMC going to add a Suijay helper? Anytime you're against a Lance in the jungle, you just don't fight in the jungle! Because right now, Evo is making it look so easy.
There's your first Yummy Catnip Frenzy to land in about 5 minutes, and they don't even... They can't follow up with the kill. This is not what you want at all. Evil just lolling all over Hammers. Hammers will be able to take Sibs down. They focus it. They trade over the top. They take Evil as well. Hammers are doing it. They're trading the damage. Now, it looks like someone's ready to take a triple kill on the map, but Hammy is like the slowest thing that's ever walked through the Halcyon Fold, so you can't chase them down. Hammers take 2.
Cue the Benny Hill theme. That was just very unfortunate for Hammy, being one of the slowest heroes in the game, and this should be a turret going over to Hammers. They're not even finding the kill.
Has he made a mistake? Dowsy, Rose defensive over the top. Hammy, he stands his ground, he gets one. Can he take 2?
One,
he gets the double kill. Chicken,
2.
Chicken, he gets him out of the Hammy gets 2. Oh, Saw's a pretty good hero, huh?
Yeah, Mad Cannon's a pretty ridiculous ability. Executes when they're low health, and with the Serpent's Mask, he just had a little bit of a sustain. Here comes Evo! Wants to find revenge.
Impel. There's the Githing wall and attack combat roll forward, but Chicken, he's like, do you know what update you're playing on? And do you see that I'm Arden? You're not going to kill him.
Yeah, not going to kill Arden, who, gets back a bit of health for all the damage he takes. It's in very tanky, and it's not like Lance has very much damage to begin with. Wow, what a turn of events! Rogue looking so strong, but a little bit of a misstep means that Hammers have got themselves a little bit more gold into their systems. A Bonesaw now for starting all over, going to just rip through the armor that Hammy has already purchased. It is a Bonesaw for Hammy as well. Breaking point is there for Sibs. This is very important times. Rogue have continuously fought in the jungle, and it's made Hammer's life so hard. You have to think that any fight in the jungle is going to just work in favors for Evo with his double Giphian walls. Hammers really need to pull Rogue into some other area of the map where they can't fight, but there's a Kraken spawning in just 4 seconds, which means Hammers once more are going to have their hands forced, you feel, and Rogue have a very good chance to find not only a teamfight win, but a Kraken as well.
Evil finding a couple stuns there as Hammers move forward. They're looking to take this turret down, and they will do so quite easily. Now, Impale into the Suppressing Fire, the Gauntlet down defensively. Yummy Catnip Frenzy not going to be landing. Rogue have turned it around. Chicken, he's on the front side there. Starting turns around with the on-point Evil. He's looking to lock somebody up. No, he goes with the Githing wall to go ahead and knock the back. Root comes out on the Chicken. Sibs begins to spin. Breaking point stacking up across the board here. And that's a big kill coming through for Sibs as he takes Chicken down. We're 15.5 minutes in, and Rogue are up in this game. They're going to be taking the Kraken as well. Things getting a little bit desperate for Hammers.
Yeah, it really is. And where's the Atlas Pauldrons for Hammers? They're against double weapon power, and they haven't got enough attack speed slows here. Only Chicken has a tier 3 armor item. Both Status and Starting All Over prioritizing their damage more than their defense. Here's that replay of that fight. It's a little bit zoomed in, but we will deal with it. It is just Chicken being chased on down, I think. And I think he manages to block the impales. Oh no, look at that. Just gets taken on in. The echoed impale comes through. He does go block it, but Suppressing Fire slows him down, gets the kill. As we kind of just showcase some of the cool new camera angles that Aloha can provide for us.
Aloha, what a player. A two-man to get through all. It means Hammy can start to go down. Now Atlas Pauldron was applied on the Saw. Yummy Cat and Frenzy does come through, buying a little bit of time. Hammy getting burst down. Hammers are doing it, but Sibs begins to spin with redness. He's got 20 breaking point stacks. Can Sibs do it? Hammers all dropping low. They turn around. They get rescue damage. What? Sibs, unbelievable! Now this is going to definitely be Rogue. It looked like Hammers were about to win the fight. Holy nuts, what just happened?
That was a huge, I believe, Crucible. It had to be the Crucible that was the shield onto Sibs to keep himself alive. Breaking point on Rona, so easy to stack up, and you just see the triple melee melting in the red mist of a Sibs. This is going to be the game, you feel, going over to Rogue.
Oh my goodness gracious. This game, it has been so insane. Okay, we're gonna give Hammers the benefit of the doubt here. No, we're not. It's game over. Rogue have done it. Oh my goodness. Rogue fans, stand up.
This is a very exciting time for Rogue. Not only Humanist do they maintain their point lead over TSM, but they've also eliminated the chances that someone else can take a world spot here in North America. Unfortunately for Hammers, now out of the running. Rogue going to the semi-finals, and they, of course, are going to be looking to take the win here in North America this weekend. They've shown that Saw pushes for the win.
I am so proud of this Rogue team right now. It feels bad